Good Saturday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go in and talk about the weather for your Saturday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to talk about tonight as usual. But before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, we have around like a good 6 people watching. Right now, about a good somewhere around there, 5, 6 people watching. And we only have 3 likes. If you're a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Also, hit the subscribe button if you are new. We are right now getting close, or about halfway, honestly, to that 700 goal. So go on and hit that subscribe button if you have not already and you're new. Also, share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even people you don't even talk to like that. Just go on and share it to them so they can go on and get us further and further to that goal, and we can go on and continue to get this weather information out. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we will obviously talk about the weather for tonight and currently, obviously. We also will go on and we'll talk about the cold front that's moving through tonight. We'll talk about the isolated showers, the gusty winds that can move through tonight. And then we'll talk about our sharp cool down post frontal air mass. We'll talk about the seasonable to below normal temperatures as we go into early next week, the moderate temperatures midweek with increasing uncertainty as we go into that time frame. And then we'll talk about an active pattern late into next week with precipitation chances and cooler air as well due to another cold front possibly late next week. So let's go on now and look at what's currently going on in terms of our current stuff first. We can get that stuff out the way. We do, in fact, have some showers ongoing right now. Showers ongoing over here near Edgefield, over towards Saluda. And for the most part, it's mainly just to the west, Murphy Estates, just to the west, north and west of Augusta. And then maybe even some rainfall, maybe like a little isolated shower going on up here near Rock Hill. Better than that, though, looks like we are good in terms of precipitation. Now, what's going on in terms of the entire United States? Well, right now it looks like we do have some rainfall going on throughout a good amount of the southeast. It looks like just a couple of lines. There goes the cold front right there, though. You can see right here. Even if we go on and look up here inside of the northeast, you have this rainfall going on up here inside the northeast. Even over there inside the mid-Atlantic, some snowfall on the top side and the back side going through the UP of Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois. Some rainfall even going on over here in Nebraska, rainfall and snowfall. Maybe some rainfall going on over here inside of Washington as well. Now, what's going on in terms of our cloud cover? Well, cloud cover right now actually is showing some pretty heavy cloud cover. You have it some over there inside the upstate. You have some inside the PD area. Maybe with some low clouds going on inside the southern Midlands, but for the most part, it looks like that we will continue to kind of see this cloud cover try to kind of cloud back up the entire state again, but then it will move its way off towards the south and east. What am I talking about? Well, if we start off right here at 9 o'clock p.m., you push this forward, this is 2 o'clock in the morning, you can see things are starting to cloud its way back up. But look as we get into around 9 o'clock in the morning, going all the way to 12 o'clock p.m., even as we move into 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, all the way to 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, cloud cover is moved out of the state, and we go back to being nice and clear. Now, that's for Sunday night going into Monday morning. Look, as we get into around 7 o'clock in the morning, we start to see some more cloud cover going in to like the western parts of the state, going inside of the coastal areas as well. 11 a.m. comes along, and we start to see some more cloud cover again as we go into Monday. So we're not going to be done with it, but we will definitely see a good break from this mostly cloudy conditions throughout the state. Current temperatures right now around 63 in Charleston, 64 in Beaufort, as well as 62 in Hilton Head Island, 65 in Somerville, and even around a good 69 in Orangeburg, 71 in Columbia, 69 in Sumter, and 71 also set a Lugoff, 70 Aiken, and 67 in Newberry, 66 Greenwood, Lawrence, Union, 64 inside of Anderson, 63 in Clemson and Greenville, as well as 65 in Spartanburg, Gaffney, 66 in York and Rock Hill, as well as a good 71 over there near Hartsville, 70 in Bennettsville, 69 Florence, 64 in Conway, and 61 in Myrtle Beach, 64 in Georgetown. Now, for your low temperatures for tonight, you have around a good 41 in Greenville, 42 in Spartanburg, and even around a good 45 in Rock Hill, 45 in Newberry, and 47 in Winsboro, 49 Aiken, and 50 in Columbia, 51 in Camden, and 54 inside of Sumter, 53 Orangeburg, and 54 inside of Florence, 55 in Kingstree, and 58 in Moncks Corner, 57 in Walterboro, and 59 in Hilton Head Island, 61 in Charleston, and 57 in Myrtle Beach. High temperatures for tomorrow, around 49 in Greenville, and 50 Anderson, 51 in Lawrence, and 54 in Newberry, 59 Columbia. You even have around 61 in Orangeburg, 62 in Sumter, 64 Kingstree, Moncks Corner, Florence, Dillon, 66 in Georgetown and Myrtle Beach. Now, what about your rainfall for tonight? 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch possible for a good amount of the upstate. Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Newberry, even down to the Midlands a little bit, Columbia, Camden, Cheraw, Aiken. All of these areas have the chance for 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch, and somebody might even receive around a good 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch. It's possible. It's definitely possible that somebody could see around a good 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Now, what about our crazy score for tonight? The crazy score for tonight, we're at a 26. Why are we at a 26? Well, for the most part, the main reason is because we definitely will see some gusty northwest winds developing. That post front after that front moves past whatever area. 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts, potentially up to 30. The main noticeable events, enough definitely for wind noise, swaying branches, and even the upcoming lake wind advisory starting on Sunday morning. So we will continue to look for. We'll continue to look for this. Just as we go throughout tomorrow morning. Also, isolated light showers early. We're already seeing that, and that temperature drop, that's going to be sharp. But it stays above freezing statewide. No cold threats tonight. Well, at least it's going to attempt to stay above freezing tonight. It does look like that, though. 41 is the lowest temperature I see. Maybe some 35. But I see up there, in the very high peaks of the mountains, maybe. But for right now, in terms of the actual mainland part of South Carolina, looks like right now that we're all going to be above freezing. And so that's why we're at a 26. Let's go on now and look at the SPC outlook for tonight. Thunderstorms not expected for tonight, not expected for tomorrow, and that should be Tuesday, but Tuesday we have no risk as well for any sort of severe weather. So I don't think that we, honestly, I don't think that we will have any sort of risk for any sort of severe weather for a good little bit. There we go, Monday. I don't think we'll have any severe weather for a good little bit in terms of this. Now, in terms of, the next system that we have, I think that one, the possibility is always there. We'll talk about it, but, the possibility is always there. But, right now, in terms of severe weather, I'm not really seeing too much of anything in terms of severe weather for right now. Things can change, but I'm not really seeing too much of anything right now. Let's go on now and talk about the excessive rainfall outlook. Well, actually, we'll go to excessive rainfall right now, but then we'll have to go back real quick. But right here, no excessive rainfall for the next 5 days. We are good here in terms of excessive rainfall outlooks. But one thing that I do want to say real quick is if we go in and look at Sundays. Now, this is very odd because on South Carolina's thing, it doesn't show it, but on North Carolina, it does. I have no idea why it's doing that. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here, though. If we go to the fire weather outlook and we go to North Carolina, it shows an elevated fire risk on tomorrow. That's what it shows. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked. You have the breezy conditions and the cold front moving through. I'd understand. But it shows elevated fire risk over for the coastal areas over into the low country, inside of the PD, the Grand Churn areas, even parts of the Midlands as well. But if we go into the actual SPC website and we go in and check that out, right now, they actually do have something for tomorrow, yeah. So I think this is the actual forecast right here. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing out in terms of the South Carolina map, but it's showing on North Carolina for some reason. I think that just must just be like a little glitch or something like that. But right here on Sunday, January 11th, tomorrow, fire risk is there. So make sure if you're burning something from the Midlands all the way down towards the coastal areas, you know, you got to make sure you be careful with it. Got to make sure you be careful with it because those gusty winds and those dry conditions, that would cause fire to spread quickly. So you have to make sure that you're careful with it. Have to make sure you're careful with it because if you're not, it could potentially get pretty bad if you're not careful with it. So that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the fire weather, though. I mean, pretty much same thing we've been talking about in terms of fire weather for like the past couple of weeks ago, or like a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the same fire risk on New Year's Day, I believe. So like a week and some change. So right here on 9 p.m., we're going to start off with the short-term models first. And as we go in and push this forward, you can see as the nighttime progresses all the way to 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., isolated shower activity continues as it goes all the way through the southern Midlands, all the way throughout the PD areas as well. But look at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Look at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It shows rainfall going on throughout the state. And it goes on until around 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning until it finally moves its way out. So we will see some morning showers tomorrow in the southern Midlands, inside the low country, inside the PD area, and inside of the Grand Strand areas as well. So do not be surprised if you see that tomorrow. That continues its way through. And then as you go all the way throughout the next 48 hours, we're not seeing any sort of precipitation after that. So we're just going to be watching for some rainfall post front, or maybe before the front. I'm going to have to look at the dew points. But it looks like some rainfall will be trying to come in early morning, 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe even to 10 o'clock until it finally moves its way out. Now, what about the actual cold front itself? It looks like that the showers kind of align with the cold front. It might be a little bit in front. Actually, might be a little bit behind. Okay, this is 6 o'clock in the morning here. We go back to the dew points. Yeah, it looks like it's around maybe a little bit behind, but around the same. But the cold front, moved its way through it. It moves through probably in around like the next hour or two. It's about to move through the upstate. They don't move through, like the Midlands, going into like during the nighttime hours, go throughout the southern Midlands, and then goes throughout the low country early morning for the most part, going into maybe a bit later. But those winds behind it and those dry conditions behind it will cause us to have that fire risk. So we're going to be looking at that, but just look at how you can see the wind shift, especially as those drier that dry air definitely makes its way through. So now, what about the long-term future? Well, we're going to start off here at the 54-hour mark. And as we go on and push this forward right here, you can see we're not really seeing any rainfall until around like January 15th maybe. But that's about like all that I can see here in terms of rainfall for like the next week or so. After that, maybe some rainfall around like the 18th. Definitely seems like it's possible. Maybe some snow, for some areas, especially up there inside the upstate, up there in the mountains. Maybe some rain mixing in with some snow. You never know. So we're going to just continue to watch for it, and see what happens. But if we continue this forward even more, cloud cover, not in terms of cloud cover, but in terms of cold air, that goes on and moves its way through. More cold front after cold front after cold front after cold front. And then we have some rain conditions coming through January the 22nd-ish. 24th looks like it may bring in some rainfall. 25th going to the 26th. And so active part of January. We were just talking about that. Part of the things that we were going to talk about for tonight was going to be that active pattern as we go into the late part of next week. And that late part of next week, obviously, is the 17th going into the 18th. Look at the 18th. Active conditions as the cold front moves its way through. You can see right here around like the 18th-ish or so. Then we'll have another cold front, or at least like some more cold air try to move its way through. But there's already going to be kind of like some cold air there, so it's kind of just going to reinforce it potentially. But then another potentially big cold front around like the 26th. Now, what's going on in terms of the anomalies? If we go in and look at the anomalies, it looks like we're going to stay warmer than average, then get back to being cooler than average after, remember, this cold front goes away. Warmer air gets here around like the 14th. 15th comes along, we have some cooler air coming through after that cold front moves through. And then we have another cold front. After the warm air tries to settle in for a little bit, cooler air will be trying to move its way through. And then we stay back to being warm. And pretty much every time we get below average in terms of temperature, it's really just because of cold fronts. Really just because of cold fronts. Even if we go and look at the actual temperatures themselves, I mean, we're going to have below freezing temperatures as we go into Sunday night and Monday night. I've been saying that for like the past couple of days now about how Sunday night and Monday night would be nights that we would have below freezing, technically below average, but below freezing temperatures. And so we'll see more of that again on the 15th, especially going into the the night of the 15th, going into the morning of the 16th. I mean, you're seeing temperatures down near 28 degrees, and with wind chills, we don't know exactly what the wind chills will be, but I mean, that could potentially put us down to the teens. So it looks like we're going to have some cold nights ahead, especially as we go into like the end part of next week. But we continue that through some more freezing temperatures again for the next couple of nights. And then maybe potentially as we get into like the late part of January, some more there as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say in terms of the long-term future. Nothing else really for me to talk about. Let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Chris was here first tonight. He does, in fact, say, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. I did. Thank you so much for asking. Maya Lewis says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. I did. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris says currently 68 degrees here amongst corner and cloudy. Well, right now, my house is around 67-ish. And then if we go into my newer one says 68. Older one says 67, but my newer one says 68. And then if I go in and actually look at it, I'm trying to look at the exact actual temperatures for it, and I just opened up something wrong, I think. Did not mean to open that up. There we go. In terms of exact temperature, it actually is dropping, obviously. But for right now, it looks like it's around a good 67.6. So it's like right on that brink. If it drops another 0.2, it will pretty much be down towards 67 with the older one as well. Then back here, Mr. Chris says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps the channel grow. He's absolutely correct. Right now, we have around a good 19 people that have tuned in and only 6 likes. If you are a part of that 13, if you're a part of that 13 that have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and do so. It's free and you can change your mind at any time. Continue our way down. He said it also was very nice here, almost 80 degrees, and started clouding up this afternoon and got a little bit windy. It was actually pretty breezy out there while I was driving. I could definitely feel the force of the wind on the car as I was driving down. Maya Lewis says today in Georgetown we had another beautiful day around 77 degrees again. And then Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you as well. Thad says, good evening, Joseph and Weather family. I trust all is well with you all. It was a bit chilly here today. I pretty much stayed inside the entire day. Well, I was outside for a good little bit, but I probably was as well inside for the majority of the day. But I was outside for a good bit. My cousin Cheryl says, good evening, Weatherman. Hope all is good in this weekend. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are enjoying your weekend. Weatherman, do your thing. It's raining up here in Philly. I love it. Well, I'm glad that you're getting your rainfall that you love. And then also, thank you so much for being here for tonight. And hopefully, you're doing well. Mr. Chris says, with those winds, possible power outages can happen. Nothing's impossible, but it's kind of unlikely, for a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust to do that. If that happens, you're just insanely unlucky at that point. But like I said, nothing's impossible, but you really start seeing those power outages at around like 40-ish miles per hour to when that could possibly be happening. But like I said, anything's possible. Anything is possible, and who knows, some might even get a wind gust potentially higher than that. And then Maya Lewis says, I'm glad that it will be above freezing. For now, we will get back to being below freezing. In fact, as we go into like the end part of next week, we will see it below freezing. And as we go into literally tomorrow night, it will be below freezing. So for tonight, though, yes, it will be above freezing. And that's all for me in terms of the chat. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking 4 locations. What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about their weather forecast. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. Low temperatures tonight at 40. High temperatures tomorrow at 63. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 45. In terms of precipitation at this time, not expected. No precipitation is expected at this time. What about severe weather and excessive rainfall? That's not expected either. So nothing to really watch for. But in terms for your future and what you may have to look out for, chance of rainfall Monday night, 20%. So low, but it's there. And then in terms of your temperatures, you will be warming up. It may feel like that you're cooling down a little bit. Tuesday, high temperature of only 60. But trust me, on Wednesday, high temperature of 74. And then it's going to kind of peak there before it tries to go back down on Thursday to 66. But then it's going to go back up to 71 on Friday. Then it's going to take a deep dive down on Saturday to 59 for your high temperature. So your temperatures are going to be almost all over the place. You're going to have 50s, 60s, and 70s. But it looks like for now, warmest day of the week, warmest time period will be definitely midweek. For Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at 52, high temperatures tomorrow at 58, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 28. Showers are likely tonight. You will see that. And also, precipitation is not expected tomorrow, though, so you have like a little bit of a break there. As that cold front moves its way through, it's actually going to be warmer. It's actually going to be warmer during the morning time than it is at the nighttime. And that might even be a thing for us here inside of South Carolina as well, but at least for some people. But for right now, for Raleigh, it's going to be warmer in the morning time than it is inside of like the afternoon, as it's going to drop to around 46 degrees by around 5 p.m. And then in terms of precipitation, maybe a chance of rainfall on Thursday, but that's all I can see. Philadelphia, you have low temperatures tonight at 40, high temperatures tomorrow at 45, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 30. Rain is expected tonight. Obviously, you're getting it right now. Patchy fog as well will also be a thing for tonight. Scattered rain/snow. Yes, that's a possibility as you go into tomorrow. And it will be breezy tomorrow night. No precipitation there, though. In terms of your future, it looks like you will try to warm up, but it won't really get past the 40s until you drop back down to like the 30s as you go into like Thursday and Friday. Then for Duncan, Oklahoma, the final area with low temperatures tonight at 31, high temperatures tomorrow at 54, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 30. Precipitation not expected at this time. In fact, not for like the next 7 days. You're going to be dry, and it will warm up in terms of your temperatures until around like Friday to where it will drop down, especially going into Saturday. So that's it for these 4 areas. What's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? 2 storm systems will track through the central and the eastern U.S. today through the weekend with areas of gusty winds, rainfall, and heavy snow. Severe thunderstorms and heavy to excessive rainfall is forecasted today. Pretty much it's over pretty much for now, but goes throughout the lower Mississippi Valley to the Tennessee Valley. Damaging winds, a few tornadoes, and areas of flooding are possible. But like I said, that threat for today pretty much is done. There's nothing else really there for it. In fact, there is no thunderstorms that are forecasted throughout the entire nation, at least for the lower 48. No thunderstorms are forecasted for the entire nation. Now, obviously, you will have potentially that isolated thunderstorm, but for right now, we're not looking to have any sort of thunderstorms throughout the entire United States as we go throughout tonight. Possibly even tomorrow and Monday as well. Yeah, you heard that correctly. No thunderstorms potentially throughout the entire U.S. tonight, tomorrow, and Monday for 3 days in a row. But that's pretty much all that I have there in terms of the weather in terms for the entire U.S. I did want to go in and check real quick before we go in and get out of here for tonight. I did want to see what I was talking about earlier. Is that still true? And it looks like right now that it is. It looks like that it will indeed, for the most part. It looks like for right now, that for a good amount of South Carolina, the temperatures that you're receiving right now is probably higher than what you're going to see tomorrow. It probably will be. Like I can see right now, 72 over there near Columbia. Columbia's not going to get back to 72 at all. I see around 60 over there inside the upstate. It's not going to get back up to the 60s. Even near, like, Walterboro, 65 at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to get back up to that. So, same thing for South Carolina. Your temperature that you have right now is probably going to be warmer than what it will be tomorrow. Probably going to be warmer than your high temperature for tomorrow. But that's all that I have for tonight. Again, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free and you can change your mind at any time. Also, if you have not hit the subscribe button, go and hit the subscribe button. It's free. Like I was same thing with hitting the like button, and it helps me out. We're at 649 trying to get to that goal of 700. Also, share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people you don't even like. Just share it to somebody so they can go on and get that weather information. And so let's go and talk about the top fans real quick, then we're out of here for the night. Mr. Chris back at that number one spot. And then my Aunt Lou is at number 2. And then for number 3, I believe Mr. Anthony is at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. And also, you have to be here early, you have to be active inside the chat, and you have to be a subscriber. And I think that's all I have to say for tonight. Let me check out anything else. Mr. Chris says, everybody please remember to stay safe, warm, and hydrated. Absolutely. Make sure to go in and do so, even though, for the most part, it's going to be a bit chilly tonight, but not going to be as chilly, especially as it will be tomorrow. That's all, though. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Sunday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are there. And hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you're new.